Hey friends, it's Chad from Colorado Giants. Today is July 18th. It's Tuesday, my day off. That means, yes, it's time for that update. Thanks for sticking around through that intro. If you are so inclined, consider hitting the subscribe button. It's right down there. Hit the little bell. Go to our website, coloradogiants.com. There you can find our videos categorized, as well as seeds for sale, t-shirts for sale, all that good stuff. And in general, it's just a good website to go check out. So go ahead, do it. It's been a pretty good week in the greenhouse as a whole. Summer has finally arrived to Colorado, so it is getting a little bit warmer. Rain, this week, not so much. It did rain a little today, and the forecast has some rain on the horizon, so it still is lingering. But again, it's good problems to have for us. Here in Colorado, it's usually really dry, and we'll take the moisture. But as a whole, everything's been going well. I've had in-laws in town. I've been working on some robot projects. Hey, tangent, if anybody wants to sponsor a BattleBot, let me know, comment below, or shoot me an email. We're working on a new heavyweight, so if you want to get your company on TV, on the Discovery Channel, on our killer robots, send me a message and we can make that happen. But as far as the plants go, obviously there's something big growing, and we have something over here and over there and over there and over there. I'll take you through everything. I'll give you some tidbits along the way, and we'll just kind of go from there. But I want to say first that this time of the year, it's all about consistency. It's about being consistent in your watering, consistent in your fertilizer, consistent in your pesticide, consistent in your fungicide, consistent in everything that you're going to do, consistent in your weeding, consistent in just keeping everything nice, clean, and tidy. I've done a really good job this year, pat myself on the back, thanks to all the help from everybody, of keeping up on those things, keeping your vines buried, being consistent. That's really important in the overall big picture of pumpkin growing. If you take care of the little things, the big things become easier. So make sure you're consistent. It's kind of funny, I was just talking about consistency, and my watermelon plants are getting a little bit of inconsistent care from me. That one back there needs trimmed real bad. This one is just acting a little, I don't know. I've not really grown giant watermelons before, but it's not growing like that one, and I feel like that is more ideal. Its plot is filled in, and I've let it kind of overhang. I'm going to go through this week and just take some scissors and trim everything so it's within its growing space. This one I'm letting go a little bit just because I want some foliage. You can probably see in frame that it's a little sparse, this plant is. And maybe that's because there's a watermelon growing on it and it's sucking up the energy. If I had to guess, that would be my my guess as to the reason why. But it's cool. I'm just taking the vines and I'm wrapping them around. The watermelons grow so fast, guys. Like, you think a pumpkin grows fast, and it does. I mean, this isn't doing 30 pounds a day, but it feels like these grow proportionally bigger just because they start out so teeny tiny, and then every day you come out and it's that much bigger. I'm really enjoying watching this grow. Honestly, I didn't mark down what day I started it or anything like that, but we did pollinate it with that one, and it's maybe, I don't know, 2 weeks old or so, and pretty big there. I haven't measured it. I don't plan on measuring them. I just want it to be as big as it can be. But watermelons so far are an A+ for me. I'm enjoying them thoroughly. The tomatoes as a whole are doing really good. They have obviously kicked into gear. They're almost at the top of my my cattle panel, which is, shoulder high. And the plants are just going nuts. I'm honestly having a little bit of a hard time, kind of keeping up with them, just because I'm not seasoned on what I need to do. I don't know, it's not instinctual for me to go cut here, move this here, whatnot. So I'm just kind of winging it, and I feel like they're probably too bushy, but I mean, I cut off a whole bunch today just because it felt like the right thing to do. I do have a tomato growing down here. It's not like the megast of mega blooms, and I see other ones that I did not know were there growing right now. So need to keep up on that a little bit better. But I'm going to let that one grow and hope for more mega blooms up here. I see a really big one up here, but thus far I haven't had any of like the multi-stem fused, really kind of caterpillar looking mega blooms. There's some really big ones, so you know, basically I'm just kind of pollinating what I have, and if I see something better down the road, I'm not going to be afraid to whack something off and go with the new next best thing. So tomatoes are going good. That plant on the end there, I don't know if you guys can really tell in the frame, but it has some sort of disease of some sort. It's not doing that great. It's still kind of kicking, but the leaves are getting black spots on it. I don't know what that means. Comment below if you know what that means. But it's obviously not as vigorous as the other ones are. So, you know, whatever. I don't know why that happened. They're all obviously super close to one another, get the same everything. So why that one was selected to get a cootie, your guess is as good as mine. The other thing that I'm continuously perplexed by is, again, the fact that these are the same seed. These are both the 1643 News, but the plants are just about as different can be. They both have 100% vine buried mint. Weeds are not bad. Emily next Tuesday is going to use her frame that weighs half as much as mine to walk down the main vine and pull everything out, because I want that nice and clean. And just in the last few days, these weeds have really started to take off, but don't worry, I will take care of that. So just the plants themselves, these leaves are huge. You know, these are getting nitrogen bloat and they're getting overly big and they're doing the splitting, cracking thing, which I don't want them to do, but they're doing it anyway. Meanwhile, this plant over here that's the exact same seed is really not doing that at all. It's, I mean, a little bit, and that is to be expected with the very first vines. But if you look at, you know, the vine number 234 versus vine number 234, getting the same fertilizer solution, the same everything, this plant just has a higher propensity of sucking up the nutrients versus this one. So like I said in the last video, I believe, I haven't watered in nitrogen in, man, probably at least 2 weeks. I've not used any calcium nitrate at all. I mean, I use a little Neptune's, that has a smidgen, but no pH adjustment with nitrogen or anything like that. It's just differences in plants, brothers and sisters doing weird things. The plants themselves are almost all filled in. This is the only bit that's not filled in. It'll be filled in by the time I vine berry on Tuesday or Sunday of next week. And I have a little bit over there in front of the tomato plant. And then this one over here is just about filled in as well. So not a whole lot of plant growth left, and that's fine, because the pumpkins are starting to suck up all the energy, and it's time to stop growing plants and start growing pumpkins. So speaking of pumpkins, let's talk pumpkin numbers. Today is day 20 for this pumpkin right here. Thank goodness that this pumpkin took, because as you can see, the wet walls right here, I'm on my growing fabric. I have literally nowhere to pull this back other than me and Emily grab and tug it. There's no room for ratchet straps or come along or anything like that. No, I was out of room with this pumpkin. So fingers crossed it does everything that it needs to do and cooperates, and it's just a nice pumpkin to work with. Fingers crossed you can do it. This is by far the biggest plant I've ever had, because it's literally at the end of the plant. We're at, I don't even know. We're all the way at the end of the plant is where we're at. The pumpkin's got a great shape. It's nice and symmetrical. The stem on this one is splitting a lot. So I'm going to take my pool noodle here and prop that up. But first, let's talk numbers. I measured before we started filming. So again, today is day 20 for this one. As a point of reference, the state record pumpkin last year on day 20 was 77 pounds. So that's my benchmark of where I want to try to be. Now keep in mind it was 77 pounds. There was lots of disease. I'm on top of that. There was spider mites. There was challenges that I'm trying to address this year. So if I'm at 77 pounds, I think that's pretty good. Or above, or less, or close to it. So this pumpkin, day 20, 76 pounds. I'm okay with that. That's not too bad at all. I did treat this pumpkin with Florel, which is supposed to delay cellular expansion, I believe. So what that means is the fruit doesn't really start to take off and grow until about day 20. It's building those cells. It's getting more cells into that tiny baby pumpkin, and then once it's time for them to grow, there's more cells to expand and grow. So it delays that process so you have more cells. So maybe being only 76 pounds, that's a good thing. I don't know. But as far as I'm concerned, it's right on track where the state record pumpkin was, with a much bigger plant, hopefully healthier plants. So that's awesome. I'm going to adjust this stem. Here we are at the older pumpkin. It's doing pretty good, I would say. This time of the year, I'm just making sure that I'm looking at the butt, make sure there's no stem. And again, making sure that that front vine is as slack as possible. I was going to do the same vine pattern as the one up front, but what I did was I took the last secondary vine over here, and it's pitchforking up with tertiaries in front of the tomatoes. And then I just let the main vine grow. So, you know, the main vine goes up and over that way. And that's the only vines. And then tertiary vines are coming back. So my logic, my rationale was that I do think that perhaps some in front of pumpkin growth is healthy and good. So if I have even a little bit, that'll send juice back. The downside is that it's not as easy to move around or manipulate the pumpkin like on my back plant. In this one, I'm going to have to slide back already. It's touching the vine up front. So in the next few days, that's something that I'm going to have to do. But as far as growth goes, again, state record was 77 pounds on day 20. Today is day 28 on this one. So day 20, it was 90 pounds. So that's awesome, because then we're what? We're 13 pounds ahead of schedule, also treated with Florel. So maybe even better, you know, who knows? I measured it 3 days ago, and between the 3 days ago and today, it did 32 pounds per day average. So right now it's 310 pounds, currently doing 32 pounds. That 8-day stretch average was 27 pounds. So it's speeding up in its growth, which is what we want to see. Hopefully as we cruise past day 30, we can get 30, 40, maybe 50 pounds per day. That's really, you know, the goal. Hit the stride and kick as much butt as possible in July and August as you slow down into September and then October. So we want to take advantage of the weather as best as we can. Keep your plants healthy. Keep your plants healthy is the biggest thing during this time of the year. I mentioned earlier spider mites. I'm about to spray with a product called Avid, and I sprayed with something else. Joe Jutras via Ron Wallace made some recommendations to me, and I'm really going to try and stay on top of the spider mites this year. So hopefully that gets me the extra 200 pounds so I can get into the 2,000 pound club. But that's all I got for you today. Hopefully these orange beauties keep on growing. If you have any questions, comment below. I'll get to you. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next week. Just get out there and grow yourself a giant 310 pound pumpkin, but more than 310. Let's do 2,300. See ya.